I am Jim Collison, and this is the CliftonStrengths Podcast Season 3, recorded on March 8th, 2024. In this CliftonStrengths podcast series, we'll look at how to feel more energized and motivated at work, one theme at a time. And today's theme is restorative. If you're listening live, love to have you. Love to see your comments in chat. You can join us after the fact, podcast or YouTube, by sending us your questions, coaching@gallup.com. Dr. Jaclynn Robinson is our host today. She works as a senior learning and development consultant. Joined me for season 1 and 2 of the CliftonStrengths podcast, where we looked at well-being at work, the book, and the CliftonStrengths role-based reports. Jaclynn, always great to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We are spending time this season talking about bringing energy and motivation. I love that word, motivation, to work with
Yeah.
your themes, because sometimes it's just more than energy, right? Sometimes I
Yes.
feel like motivation is a drive, where energy is the force. I don't know.
Yes.
We might
Yes.
be we might be mincing words there, but today we're talking about restorative, and let's talk about the individual first. What are some ways an individual with restorative can feel more energized by focusing on their basic needs?
Well, before working on a more significant task or project that you've got, collect any relevant data and information about the expectations. Kind of be aware of your own colleagues' capabilities, and then review any historical problems related to similar tasks or goals. And use all of that data to inform your approach and bring awareness to any potential challenges that you might come across.
When we think about the individual with high restorative, feeling more energized by focusing on their individual strengths,
Yeah.
restorative, when we think about this from a context of development, right? Spend a little time, because I think this is one of those areas where
Hmm.
turned internally, it can be super powerful.
Well, what I recognize in coaching a lot with restorative is there's the self awareness of where to develop further,
Mm,
what isn't working, what skills need perfected. And so I think it's just taking a pause to do that self analysis, kind of the body scan to say, out of all the work responsibilities I have and then the future goals that I see for myself, where do I need to, you know, perfect or maximize my skill set or my training,
yeah.
and look for that mentor or have that conversation with your manager or seek that continuing education program that's going to help you.
I think we sometimes, when we think of restorative, we think about fixing things, or right things, processes. Yet I think it can be applied, and this is kind of what I hear you say, to
Hmm.
our to ourselves, both internally. We'll talk about the manager here in just a second, but how can you talk a little bit more, or in your experience of really turning that in on oneself or working with others to
Yeah.
for those personal things?
Yeah. It's interesting. There's I think a bit of tug of war with those high and restorative because, to your point, most might think of processes and fixing that, but restorative also focuses on fixing people, including themselves. And so then it can be a juggling act of, well, I have these strengths, but should I fix my weaknesses at the bottom of my report if they're looking at their
Mhm.
full 34? No, instead, again, do that body scan and say, out of my top 10 strengths or my top 5 strengths, where's there room for improvement? And then focus your improvements on that particular strength, or focus your improvements on that particular skill set or responsibility that you feel you need to get better at, and think about how your top 5 or top 10 strengths can help you solve for that or get to that end goal.
Think I might have led the witness a little bit, you being the witness, when I used the word fix. I think that gets a bad rap. That English word fix gets a bad rap at times, because it
Yeah.
may have a negative connotation, especially in the context of people. Like, don't try to fix me, right?
Yeah.
I almost I want to correct myself a little bit. I think a better word is develop, right? How do we
Yes.
continue to develop?
Yes, that's a great word.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
this is one of those areas where we could spend some time
that's a really
talking
great word.
about in the area of professional and personal development. How
Mhm.
do we see it? The word itself isn't as matters. It's our intent, right, in that and what we're trying to do. But I do like that word develop, just because the
I do too.
fix has gotten kind of a negative connotation in the culture. What are some ways an individual with restorative can feel more energized by building partnerships and finding purpose in their role?
Ooh, well, when faced with challenges or setbacks, encourage your colleagues to apply their strengths. So then, as a team,
Mm, mhm.
you're all experimenting and finding more innovative solutions together through that strengths lens. And then that alone can help everyone see that their talents are special, and together you're driving impact and solving problems. You don't have to do it alone. You can take more of that strengths based partnership approach.
Yeah. In a team setting like deliberative, restorative can be seen, I think, sometimes as a slow down mechanism, but
Hmm.
slow down to get it right, or slow down to get it correct, let's
Yeah.
slow down for a second. Let's pump the brakes. I love that. I love that phrase. Let's pump the brakes just for a second to get maybe a process or a thing, whatever that is. Let's
Hmm.
get that right so we can go farther. Let's sharpen that axe so it'll be more effective when we go to use it to cut down the tree, so to speak. And so I just think there's a great opportunity there as we think about teams and finding purpose and building partnerships of maybe with our restorative friends, one, having patience if you're not there to see the
Hmm.
purpose behind what they're doing. Or two, if you are there to be patient with those who are like this guy, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Right. All right, enough talking. Let's go. Right. And so I think there's some understanding to take place in there, like I said, much like deliberative. Any other thoughts
Yeah.
on that before we move to the manager?
Well said. This is
Yeah.
where your communication skills just come in and lay it out there in a much better way than I could say
Yeah. All
it.
right. We'll leave it at that. Let's talk about the manager. How can a manager with restorative
Yeah.
support others with their basic needs?
Proactively identify any potential issues or challenges that could affect your team's ability to meet the expectations.
Mhm.
You could consider past experiences or any known weaknesses, and then prioritize any of those potential issues based on their impact on meeting expectations. Then that's really going to allow you to focus on the most critical problems first.
Mhm. How about a manager with restorative? How can they help others feel seen, heard, and valued as an individual?
Provide guidance and resources to help your team members overcome specific challenges or
Mm,
obstacles that they're encountering in their day. And I really think that speed and decisiveness that you offer in taking action helps them feel heard and cared about, because you're
mm,
attentively looking for ways to fix the problem for them so that they can thrive again in the workplace.
mhm. Yeah, and I think realizing in a team setting, and it may not require a complete overhaul.
Uh-huh.
It may be, you don't have to destroy the building to build a new one. You
Yeah.
can, right? It maybe just needs new windows, or maybe the
Yeah.
door just needs to
Well,
be
quick
fixed.
fix.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe we just need to address a little bit of an issue. I think when we think about feeling seen, heard, and valued, I think as a manager, this is where it's
Yeah.
important to individualize this small I, knowing that everybody's different, and then really digging in and saying, how can I be the most effective with this development? I almost
Mhm.
said fix with this development. How can we be individualized with it in a way that, and sometimes it is a fix, that
Yeah.
can, right, that has the most impact on that individual, or is what the exact thing they need at the time. We have this idea of a just-in-time delivery, right? Of other words, getting what you need just the moment before you need it.
Mhm.
And I think that does help people feel seen and heard when it's not just, well, do this because everybody does that. It's do
Yeah.
this because it's customized for you. I've thought about it, right? Thought about it for you. How can a manager with restorative build trust, inspire, and deepen team collaboration and community?
Creating space for problem-solving workshops or sessions where team members can collaborate together to find solutions to common challenges. Instead of just saying identify a workaround on your own, you're on your own, kid. It's, well, let's take a moment. Let's either repurpose this team meeting that we've got because this is a larger issue that needs to be solved for. Or I'm hearing similar themes from you all in one-on-ones and just, aside conversations. So let's take a moment and just have a workshop and figure out how to work through this together.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish there was a CliftonStrengths theme of patience, because I think sometimes restorative needs that
Developer?
to be patient. Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be patient with that because, you may be providing solutions. I know I am a resistor sometimes of solutions. At first I'm
Oh,
like,
that's a good point.
somebody
Yeah.
comes to me and I'm like, I need to think about it or I need some time so deploy a little patience in that,
Great point.
right? Knowing that
Yeah.
if we want to build trust, to not get frustrated and give up on a person just because they don't take it the first time. I know I need that all the time.
Mhm.
I need people to be patient with me in that. And that does deepen the team collaboration when people know I'm not going to be given up on.
Mhm.
If I don't take this right away, if I don't do this, you know how it is. Somebody gets excited about a product and then they're telling you, you got to go buy this. This will change your life. And you're like, yeah, no, it's not actually gonna, you know. I appreciate your enthusiasm, kind of thing. But I think in some of these settings to really build that trust, we need to deploy that patience
It's a
in
good
there.
call out in a non-speaking role because you might want to solve for the problem and jump in
Yeah.
the middle of the team's conversation and not
Yeah.
allow them to try and solve for it for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's patience to just be quiet in the room and let the team come up with some solutions together, even if you've got or feel like you have some great ideas. Or
Yeah.
just try this. Going back to your thing of try this, it could work. It's gonna feel more effective if they're coming up with it.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of this myself. Someone is saying something and I can't wait for them to stop moving their lips so I can start moving mine. You know? Hey,
Ah,
you're just waiting and I think we can all probably that's one of those lessons of just giving it a little bit of time and kind of thinking, "Yeah, let me think about this," or whatever.
yeah.
It's a discipline. It is a trust builder. I think the more we can do that and physician heal thyself, it that, I often need to do it as well. Last question, how can a manager with restorative support the growth of each team member?
Well, in performance-based conversations, there's the celebration of success, and then there's the potential opportunity for growth or skills development. So approach learning and growth challenges as fixable issues. I'm going to bring the fix word in that can be addressed with the right strategies versus where it feels very critical. It's more optimistic actually in this regard to say this is something we can fix. Let's identify a solution for you.
Mhm, mhm. Well, and the confidence. I love what you
Uh-huh.
just said. This is something we can fix, or this is something we can handle, or this is something we
Yeah,
can work on, or this is something
we
uh,
can solve
back
for.
to the patience idea.
Yeah.
This is something I see. I'm gonna be patient with you as we work
Mhm.
this through, right? And
Yeah.
or whatever, right? To give that cut to say, I'm here for you.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter if you fail a couple more times in the process. I'm here. I'm here for you. I realize what we're doing here. And and
Yeah.
and this may be another area where I think sometimes we think that stuff is supposed to change instantly, especially when working with people.
Mhm.
Why couldn't you get it right? I just told you. Well, it's not always the way it works, with people, right? And to
Ye
be patient with them. And I think when we think about supporting the growth, that that growth can come through those failures. Like in some
Mhm.
cases, we grow more because we
Here,
failed,
here.
right? And so it's
Yeah.
just it's like I think we think, "Hey, I'm telling you how to do this. You should get it right." Well, maybe, maybe, maybe not. Maybe there's some more failure that needs to be done before we get to it. Jaclyn, final thoughts as we wrap up restorative?
All right. Well, restorative is just one of those wonderful themes that really helps create that supportive environment, patient environment. We'll even throw that in, where challenges and setbacks are seen more as opportunities for improvement and development than, a huge stopgap in the road. So I love this theme because I think it encourages ideation in terms of there's room for improvement, or let's seek out new ways of making something more efficient or effective for us so that you no longer have these bottlenecks down the road. Or let's look for those developmental opportunities that are going to support your growth so that you're performing with greater excellence. So keep on keeping on, restoratives, because honestly, we those of us with Maximizer, we love you. We need you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And there's nothing for me, there's nothing better to watch. So
Mhm.
I enjoy that process. I enjoy watching that process. It's a work of art to me. And I envy it. It's super low for me. And so I envy it. And for those who have it, use it for good. Well, with that, we'll remind everyone to take full advantage of all the resources we do have available in Gallup Access. Log in, my.gallup.com. Get your strengths report. If you haven't viewed the new top 5 report, it's there. It's ready for you. Everybody
It's
has it.
beautiful.
And you want to go in there. Yeah. Work of art. Jump in there and take a look at it. For coaching, master coaching, or become a Gallup certified strengths coach, you can send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. If you want to join us for the 2024 Gallup at Work Summit, there's time to do that as of now. If it's after June of 2024, I bet we have something else ready for you. Head out to gallupatwork.com and get registered today. Stay up to date with all the future webcasts by joining our Facebook and LinkedIn groups. You can find us on any social platform by searching CliftonStrengths. If you enjoyed it, share it, like it, link it, all those other things. Just take it. And I get emails all the time from folks that said, hey, thanks for doing this. And I've been sharing it with these people. And we appreciate you doing that. Spread the word. And thanks for listening today. If you're listening live, stay around with a little bit of post show. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.